In the early hours of Wednesday morning, the 29th of July 2026, Dublin woke to devastating news that would send shockwaves through Ireland and the global music community. Glen Hansard, the Oscar-winning Irish singer, songwriter, actor, and frontman of The Frames, had died in a motorcycle crash at the age of 56. Emergency services were called to a single-vehicle collision on Lower Road in Lucan west of Dublin, near the area known as Strawberry Beds. Shortly before 4:30 a.m., despite treatment at the scene by paramedics, he was pronounced dead a short time later. His management company, ATC Management, confirmed the tragedy with a heartbreaking statement. "With broken hearts we announce the passing of Glen Hansard, who passed away in the early hours of this morning following a road traffic accident in Dublin." The Irish police, known as Garda Fé, issued a statement appealing for witnesses to the crash, which occurred on the R109 near Rugged Lane. The road was closed as forensic collision investigators examined the scene, and anyone with information was asked to contact Lucan Garda Station or the Garda Confidential line. Glen Hansard was born on the 21st of April 1970 in Dublin, Ireland, a city that would become the foundation for everything he achieved in his life and in his career. He grew up in a family that was deeply connected to music, with his father, James Hansard, running a famous music shop on Dublin's South Great George's Street. From a young age, Glen was surrounded by instruments, by musicians, by the sounds of people playing, singing, and creating. He left school at the age of 15 to pursue music full-time, taking to the streets of Dublin as a busker, performing for passers-by with nothing but his guitar and his voice. By the time he was 17, he had landed a role in the iconic film The Commitments, which was based on the novel by Roddy Doyle and became one of the most beloved Irish films of all time. It was a role that would introduce him to the world, but it was only the beginning of a journey that would take him to the highest heights of music and film. In 1990, at the age of 20, Glen formed The Frames, an Irish rock band that would become one of the most important and influential groups in Irish music history. The band started as a small, intimate project, playing in tiny venues and building a loyal following through raw emotional performances that felt like they were being played just for you. Over the years, The Frames released a series of critically acclaimed albums, including Fitzcarrasco, Burn the Maps, and The Cost, each one solidifying their reputation as one of the most powerful live acts in Europe. They were a band that didn't just play music, they created experiences, moments of connection between the artist and the audience that felt almost sacred. Glen's passionate, intense performances became legendary, with shows that often stretched late into the night, fueled by emotion and an unbreakable connection to the music. But it was in 2006 that Glen Hansard's career took a turn that would change his life forever. He starred in the independent musical film Once, playing a Dublin busker who falls in love with a Czech immigrant, played by Markéta Irglová. The film was a small, intimate production made on a modest budget, but it became a global phenomenon, capturing the hearts of audiences around the world with its simple, honest storytelling and its unforgettable music. Glen co-wrote the songs for the film with Markéta, and their duet Falling Slowly became one of the most beautiful and haunting love songs of the decade. In 2008, the song won the Academy Award for Best Original Song, and Glen and Markéta performed it live on the Oscar stage, a moment that cemented their place in music history. The film would later inspire a Broadway musical, which won multiple Tony Awards. Further extending the reach and impact of Glen's work, the success of Once brought Glen international fame, but he never lost the humility and authenticity that had defined him from the beginning. He continued to tour with The Frames, to write new music, and to collaborate with other artists, always staying true to the sound and the spirit that had made him who he was. In 2011, he and Markéta formed the Swell Season, a duo that allowed them to continue working together and exploring the musical connection they had built during Once. They released several albums together, and their partnership became one of the most beloved in indie music, a testament to the power of collaboration and the beauty of two voices blending together in perfect harmony. Glen also pursued a solo career, releasing albums like Drive All Night and The Swell Season. each one showcasing his songwriting genius and his ability to capture the rawest emotions in music. Glen's personal life was always kept relatively private, but in recent years, he had found love and fatherhood later in life. He was married to Maire Saaritsa, a Finnish poet, and the couple welcomed their first child, a son named Kristi, in October 2022, when Glen was 52 years old. He had spoken openly about how becoming a father had changed his perspective on life, on music, and on everything that mattered. He had said that he couldn't believe he hadn't done it before. That being a parent had brought a new depth and meaning to his work, and that he had never been happier. The couple divided their time between Glen's home in Kildare, Ireland, and Helsinki, Finland, where Maire was from, and they had largely kept their family life away from the public eye, choosing to protect their privacy in their son's childhood. Glen's family was deeply affected by his passing. His wife, Maire, and their young son, Kristi, who was just 3 or 4 years old at the time of his death, were left to navigate a world without the man who had been their husband, their father, their partner, and their everything. His parents, James and Glen Hansard, who had supported his musical dreams from the very beginning, were also devastated by the loss of their son. The Hansard family released a statement asking for privacy during this difficult time, and they asked that people respect their grief and their need to process this unimaginable loss. Tributes poured in from across Ireland and beyond, with former President Michael D. Higgins calling Glen a wonderful musician and praising his contribution to Irish culture. Glen Hansard's net worth was estimated at around $5 million, earned through music sales, worldwide tours, acting projects, songwriting royalties, and the enduring success of Once. But his true wealth was measured in the songs he wrote, the lives he touched, the moments of connection he created, and the honesty he brought to everything he did. His legacy was not in the money he earned, but in the beauty he created, the emotions he captured, and the way he made people feel when they heard his voice. Glen's lifestyle reflected a man who was dedicated to his craft, who worked hard to achieve his dreams, and who never lost sight of what was important. He was known for his intense, passionate performances, for his willingness to give everything he had to the music, and for his deep connection to his audience. He was a man who lived for the moments on stage, for the connection between artist and listener, and for the power of music to bring people together. He was a busker at heart, a street performer who had never forgotten where he came from, and who had always believed that the most important thing was to play with honesty and with heart. Even at the height of his fame, he would often return to the streets of Dublin to busk, to remember where he started, and to connect with people in the most direct way possible. The tragedy of Glen Hansard's death brought attention to the issue of road safety, and it sparked conversations about the dangers of motorcycle accidents, the importance of wearing protective gear, and the need to support causes that work to prevent accidents on the roads. His death was a reminder that life can be taken away at any moment, that dreams can be cut short at any time, and that we need to cherish every moment we have with the people we love. He was a man who had achieved incredible success, who had built a massive following, who had inspired millions of people around the world, but whose life was tragically cut short by a motorcycle accident. The music community has mourned the loss of a talent who had so much more to give, a man who had so much more to create, so much more to share, so much more to love. Glen Hansard's legacy will live on in the songs he wrote, in the performances he gave, in the fans who loved his work, in the world that he changed, in the lives that he touched, in the stories that he told, in the music that he gave us, in everything that mattered. He was a man who had achieved everything he had ever dreamed of, who had become one of the most respected musicians in the world, and who was on the verge of creating even more beauty in the years to come. His songs will continue to be played, his voice will continue to be heard, and his spirit will continue to inspire new generations of musicians and fans around the world. He will be remembered for the sound of his voice, the sound of his guitar, the sound of his songs, the sound of his life, the sound of his everything that mattered. He was a man who had achieved everything he had ever dreamed of, who had become one of the most respected musicians in the world, and who was on the verge of creating even more beauty in the years to come. He was a busker at heart, a street performer who had never forgotten where he came from, and who had always believed the most important thing was to play with honesty and with heart. He was a man who gave everything to his music, who poured his soul into every note, and who left behind a legacy that will never be forgotten.